So ever since the launch of the Nintendo Switch 2, there have been many conversations had about the system. Some people, of course, are overly positive about it. Nintendo can do no wrong. Some people are, of course, overly negative about it. Nintendo does everything wrong. They're screwing over people. I tend to not lean into either side of those conversations because I'm just someone with an opinion. I will look at a situation and I will address that situation accordingly. I do think there are valid complaints about the Nintendo Switch 2. The price point of some of the games, the price point of some of the accessories, the somewhat soft launch when it comes to first-party games from Nintendo for this system. But then again, I'm not going to get into the doom and gloom situation. The doom and gloom situation, though, definitely seems to be pretty positive right now on social media in terms of getting a response from people. Videos on doom and gloom, tweets about doom and gloom have definitely been more prevalent than the overly positive news has been, and those people are starting to see success with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with it. They could genuinely feel that way, and it's just one person's opinion. And if people resonate with that kind of stuff, then that's what they resonate with. However, some of the doom and gloom stuff has now changed. I think some of the doom and gloom, the goalposts are going to have to shift, or the conversation is just going to have to steer in a different direction because everything has changed for the Nintendo Switch 2 now. The latest financial report just came out, which of course highlights Nintendo related things, and we're just going to focus on the Switch 2 related stuff. If you want information on how well the Switch is doing and how well Switch 1 games are doing, you can find that online, whatever. I'm not going to be the one to talk about that. I want to focus primarily on the Switch 2 stuff because what we're seeing right now with this system, whether you love it, whether you hate it, it's undeniable that it is the most successful system and there's really no signs of it slowing down. So I want to look at the positives and the negatives of this situation and give you guys my thoughts on it. If this is your first time on the channel, welcome. Be sure to hit that subscribe button. But without any further ado, let's talk some numbers. So this is for the quarter ending at the end of September of this year. So essentially from June to September of system sales. We know that the system shot out of the gate very strong, but how sustainable was that going to be? And I don't think we have the full answer to that, by the way. You know, this is just the data that we have now, early adopters and stuff like that. It's a marathon, not a sprint. But right now with the sprint data is what we actually have. You got to look at it and be like, well, damn. The Nintendo Switch 2 has sold 10.36 million units by the end of September. So that's not even accounting October for this system. It is still the fastest selling system when it comes to any video game company ever. Point blank, period. Now, I'm sure there's some way people could spin that into a negative thing. Well, I go to my local Walmart or Target and I see a bunch of Switch 2s in stock, so nobody's buying it. But it definitely seems like there has been a steady supply from Nintendo when it comes to the availability of this system. They don't want things like stock shortages. They would rather have more than not enough, especially gearing up for the holiday season. We'll talk a little bit more about the holiday season in just a little bit, but 10.36 million units sold is astronomical. It is much faster than the other systems that have come before it, and this may end up being an unbeatable record, at least for the first couple of months of a system's launch. Just absolutely incredible numbers here that Nintendo is reporting. And then, of course, you have to talk about software with the system. Software, obviously, you know, it's been kind of slow. There's been third-party games and stuff like that. But when it comes to first-party Nintendo games, there really hasn't been all that many. I would have expected maybe a little bit more. There were some smaller offerings such as Drag X Drive and the Welcome Tour thing. Spoiler alert, those did not even hit 1 million units sold, so thank you guys. At least the Nintendo diehard fans who consume everything Nintendo, at least you didn't buy Drag X Drive and you didn't buy Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, thus giving a message to Nintendo that like, hey, these ain't it, pal. These ain't it. But when it comes to the two marquee titles for the Nintendo Switch 2, well, the numbers are still pretty crazy. Mario Kart World, the divisive game that I'm still waiting for a content update on. Like, we're getting towards the holiday season. You can't give me a little bit of a content update on this game? It's kind of screaming out for it. It deserves it. Give it some love. You gave Donkey Kong Bonanza some love. Mario Kart World has sold 9.57 million units. So the Switch 2 sells 10.36. Mario Kart World sells 9.57 in a couple of months. There are massive AAA games that have budgets in astronomical numbers that will never sniff that number. They'll never come close to it. And you could say, yes, it is a pack-in game, but who cares? It's still selling ridiculously well because not every single individual got that bundled system. People are still buying the game a la carte beyond just the pack-in of the game. And I know people are going to say, well, that's artificially inflated because it's a pack-in game, blah, blah, blah. But that's just a smart business decision. If you're charging $80 for the game, but you can get the game for $50 in a bundle, I mean, it might seem a little bit scummy, and you can make an argument for that, but the results are what matter at the end of the day. And if people are buying the bundle system and thus buying the game as well, it's a smart business decision. That's a nearly 1-to-1 attach rate for this game on the Nintendo Switch 2. Donkey Kong Bonanza is the other large game that did manage to sell over 1 million. Once again, 10.36 million Nintendo Switch 2 sold. Donkey Kong Bonanza sold 3.5 million units already. Astronomical. Once again, there are large AAA games with huge budgets that never even sniff something like that. And I think Donkey Kong Bonanza is a great game. I know people don't seem to be so in love with it, but I absolutely loved my time with it. I still go back and mess around with it from time to time. I more than got my value out of that game, and I think it's a very fun game, and it's a very pretty looking game as well, and it makes me excited for the future of Nintendo first party games on the Nintendo Switch 2. And then, of course, you have to realize these numbers are not involving anything with Pokemon and this holiday season. This is till the end of September. So if anything, this freight train is going to keep on moving. People are going to buy Pokemon Legends ZA. People are already buying Pokemon Legends ZA. Pokemon Legends ZA made its budget back in less than a week. That game has probably sold 8+ million copies right now, which is astronomical. It's absolutely ridiculous. But people are buying it because people love Pokemon. Now, I could sit here and argue whether or not you should buy it. It's not a game for me. That's why I didn't review it on the channel, because I knew going into it, I would just not enjoy the game because it just looks bad to me, honestly. But you can't deny the sales success of it. You can get into the conversation of, well, Nickelback has sold hundreds of millions of records. That doesn't mean they're good, and whatever. I mean, you can say that, and you could go down that rabbit hole if you want to. I don't necessarily think it's wrong, but people are resonating with it. People aren't just spending money to spend money. They're buying things that they want to buy because they enjoy it. People enjoy Nickelback. People enjoy Pokemon, which is kind of the Nickelback of Nintendo when you really think about it. But with this holiday season coming up, you know, you've got Metroid Prime 4, you've got Hyrule Warriors Age of Calamity, you've got, of course, Pokemon Legends ZA coming out. You also have a Pokemon Legends ZA bundle. I do think it will be interesting to see how Mario Kart World does with yet another bundle on the marketplace, because you got to remember, the Mario Kart World bundle is a timed sort of thing. It's not something that's always going to be there. So eventually, Mario Kart World is going to have to stand on its own with that $80 price point. And I think it'll be interesting to see how it does during that time frame. You know, with that full price point, with that no more bundle sort of situation, you know, what are you going to do there? Well, what are you going to do in that sort of thing? But, like, these numbers are crazy, dude. And I know that there's people out there that, you know, make the overly positive Nintendo videos. Those just drive me nuts. And the overly negative Nintendo videos, and those just kind of drive me nuts too. It's just like, you hate everything or you love everything. It's like, why can't you just be a more normal person? Like, why can't you just like certain things and dislike certain things? But I think the narrative definitely has to change right now. Like, you can't really spin this information, even if you're a huge Nintendo hater. You hate Nintendo, you want them to cease to exist. You can't spin these numbers as anything negative. You just can't. It's the fastest selling system of all time. Mario Kart World has sold nearly 10 million copies. It's probably over 10 million copies when we're taking into account October. Donkey Kong Bonanza, 3.5 million copies. These are astronomical numbers. And, you know, at the end of the day, that's what matters. If you're selling units, you're selling games, you're making money, you're making profit. You can get into the whole greed thing, but that's kind of a story for another day. So what do you think about this? Do you think that people will be able to spin this in a overly negative way? And if so, like how? Like I don't know, man. Like it'll be interesting to see. I'll definitely keep my eye out for those videos though, because I enjoy watching them. Because you still have to give your opinion as to why you feel that way. Like you can't just say, "Oh, well, 10.36 million is bad." It's like, well, no, it's not bad. It's the best ever. Why do you think it's bad? So if you can't really back up your opinion, is your opinion actually your opinion, or are you just marching to the beat of your own drum just to kind of be different and obtuse about things? And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Be sure to like, comment, and share. Check out yesterday's video as well, the Switch 2 holiday buying guide, because it seems like things are going to get crazy out there, folks. Seems like things are going to get crazy, so you might as well start buying some stuff now. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.